Hello, potential viewers. Welcome to my channel. Now that the hot political season is in hot, and the President of the United States is being occupied by the dealings of the coronavirus, and his super diverse, tolerant, and apathetic political opponents are choosing between two all-white dudes to bring us to intersectional utopia, I believe some of you may start to miss the raging comments of the political talking heads complaining about the big corporations not paying their fair share. And Amazon, being one of the highest value companies in the world, is often used as an example of corporate greed and of not paying their fair share. And the CEO, Jeff Bezos, is the most wealthy guy in the world yet. Workers still earn minimum wage. And some of those criticisms are probably fair. For example, that it paid $0 in federal tax in 2018 is just a clear indication that our tax system is way too complex and thus loopholes are way easy to exploit. But I am not too willing to put any more blame on the company itself. It is just taking advantage of the system in place. Nor am I willing to submit to the incitement of resentment against Amazon due to my reasons. In general, I am not as anti-corporation as many people on both sides of the political spectrum. I view them as unavoidable as the government. And it, in many ways, is a kind of civil power, living somewhere between the power of the populace and the power of the government. And for Amazon, I do not harbor too much negative feelings about the company. As a matter of fact, aside from the general caution of it being too powerful with its AI technology, and some other concerns regarding its contribution to the gradual destruction of small local businesses, I have quite some appreciation of it. First of all, is that it introduced a lot of convenience to my life as a normal consumer. Yes, it means my laziness is greatly enabled, with some level of disruption and threat to the livelihood of local businesses, and that is not inherently a bad thing. If you think about it, besides war, almost all of the great technological advancements came from our need to enable our laziness, which is another way of saying we would always like to do things more efficiently. Amazon rose to the occasion where the need to purchase items and products across geographical locations can be met with very little effort, providing revolutionary shopping experience. Yes, revolutionary. And the best part is that you just gradually got used to it without perhaps much unwelcome change to your daily routine. And the convenience was eased in gradually. And nowadays, it is hard to live without it. Think about this. You can now order almost anything on Amazon, even easily perishable items. The items you ordered can be scheduled for delivery per your choice. You can even track your item in its life cycle from warehouse to your doorstep. These features were not available for most of the online shops or any shops for that matter, just a decade and a half ago. And they typically involve great development in logistical planning, optimization, and operation. You might think planning for the life cycle of one item is easy, but think about billions of them. Amazon, through Prime membership, shipped around 5 billion items in 2017 alone. That is, in the large picture, quite an achievement. Also, often underappreciated by a lot of people who have no small amount of distaste for Amazon is that its contribution to the advancement of technology. And no, I am not talking about the huge IT infrastructure that made the biggest online store possible. I am also talking about a name that is known mostly only to the tech and investment world, the AWS, also known as Amazon Web Services. Before AWS, the world of IT mostly functions as follows. The big corporations and companies have their in-house data centers and physical servers. They set up their services there, and all the requests to their servers are directed there as well. The small companies typically had either to do the same or they need to talk to individual data centers to rent servers, storage disks, and set up their web services there. For big companies, the maintenance of the in-house IT infrastructure has always been a huge source of operation costs and inconvenience. The hardwares need to be continuously inspected and replaced. The operating systems and other software will need to be constantly updated and upgraded in order to be functional. And if security flaws are found in the system, it will be super painful to patch them. For small companies, the renting of servers and maintenance is a complicated and costly process. often you have to send staff to the data centers to inspect physical machines. And for times where small businesses decide to run their web services in-house, aside from the similar issue of maintenance, the issue of service security availability can be another source of problems. You might just be one misplaced cup of coffee away from losing your entire business. And this is where AWS come in extremely handy. They rent out reliable instances of virtual machines, which provide a lot of the services you would want if you are running a business that requires some level of web services setup, which is pretty much everybody nowadays. And you can have a lot of flexibility in setting up the right configurations centering around your service. For a slow season, you can easily decommission your rent machines to cut cost. And for hot seasons, you can easily rent more. Need specific functionalities? AWS can serve a lot of the basics. Let's say you want to run a video sharing website like YouTube. What will be some of the prime technical challenges? One crucial need is storage of videos uploaded. With people uploading videos, you will need to have a load of storage to store them and also make them easy to search. For that, AWS has S3, which stands for Simple Cloud Storage Service. Secondly, what about websites and the services of finding those videos and stream data to the end users? You will want reliable servers that can host your website, run your code to find videos in storage, and stream to the users. For that, AWS has EC2, which stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. If you have small traffic, run a few of them and run ones that are cheap with limited performance. If you have higher traffic, run more of the instances that are more expensive and with higher performance. Thirdly, you will like users to register and log in. Thus, you will need databases. For this, you can either run your databases in previously mentioned EC2 instances, or you can use some of the native databases provided by AWS, DynamoDB or Aurora. Oh, did I mention that these are high availability virtual services? Meaning that AWS is taking care of a lot of the daily maintenance for you already. You don't have to worry about your machines getting old and dusty. You don't have to figure out a lot of the basic configurations needed if you want to add more servers or remove redundant servers. So, one misplaced cup of coffee will just ruin your shirt, but not your business. In fact, I might consider AWS to be the greater contribution from Amazon than its online shop enabling our lazy shopaholic tendencies. A lot of the newborn tech stars and tech startups were greatly aided, if not entirely made possible, by the AWS. Netflix, for example, started almost entirely running on AWS, and even after deciding to move away from it and into their own in-house service, they still depend heavily on it. Another example is Uber and Lyft. The two main apps that revolutionized the taxi service was made possible only by AWS. Without AWS, it might not even be possible for them to get started, not to mention making it as publicly traded companies. Other examples include the bank Capital One, question and answer website Quora, professional social network LinkedIn, and last but not least, streaming platform Twitch. Chances are, if you are using the internet in some capacity, your requests may have been served by some virtual machine running in AWS. The great contribution and advancement from AWS reflected well in the company's revenue reports as well. Although only having 13% share of the total revenue, AWS contributed to a whopping 71% of Amazon's operating profit during 2018. All of this is not to say that we owe Amazon something, or that some of the practices of the company is beyond criticism. We already rewarded Amazon greatly by using its product. This is just an attempt to bring about another perspective into the commentary sphere where the Jeff Bezos is evil narrative is not only peddled by the attention-seeking politicians, but also some of the online commentators. And yes, warranted criticism of its practices aside, Amazon does deserve, in my humble opinion, some level of appreciation. That would be all for my video today. Hope you find it interesting. I hope to see you next time.